Welcome. In front of me I have the MEIZU mBlu 21, and today I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device and its specifications. So, before I get actually into the unboxing, I do want to right away just kind of shit on MEIZU for doing this garbage right here. The 12 gigabytes of RAM plus 128 gigabytes of storage. No, that's BS. You have actual 6 gigabytes of RAM, and then you decided to take 6 out of 128 and make it into RAM. So if you're saying that you have 12 gigs of RAM, then you don't have 128 gigs of storage, you have 122 gigs of storage. So fix your shit. You can't have both. You can't eat the cake and have it too. So either show the correct number, which in terms of RAM, this is the only number you should be showing, or just say 6 plus 6 minus, I don't know, out of the 128. Because this is just a blatant actual like misadvertising here. Anyway, now with that out of the way, companies trying to scam us and all that stuff. Just get in. Now I know very little about this device, apart from obviously what the GSM Arena has in terms of specifications. So I'm gonna be checking that out while I go to the unboxing. Okay, here's our phone. Rid of that. There we go. Oop. Now inside here we have a case. Oh, and we have a screen protector. That's nice. Though it's plastic, so nothing really special. In terms of the screen protector, also it's just a silicone one, so like the cheapest crap you can get. And in here we have a charging cable, which is a Type-C. And a space for a charger, but no charger, because why would you get that? They care about environment, obviously, right? Now, we do have a screen protector in there, but there is none pre-applied, which... If you're gonna include it, just put it on already, Jesus. So is that like a difficult idea here? Or the extra cent that it would take you to have pre-applied screen protector was too much money? Okay, anyway, let's just continue on with this. Wow, that's a bezel at the bottom. Holy! You're gonna see that in a second. Anyway, so talking about the display, we have a IPS LCD display, 90 Hz refresh rate, a 6.79 inch in size, with a 720 by 1640 pixel resolution, putting it at 264 pixels per inch. In other words, it's just kind of garbage. For a phone release, I guess 2024, at the end of 2024 still, it's bad. Now, assuming this phone doesn't cost $100, which I don't think it does. What the hell is here? Okay, it's just dirt. Oh, there we go. Now you can see that god-awful bezel. So if this phone costs about $100, I still consider this to be probably too much for what it offers, but I am probably going to not resonate with a lot of people when it comes down to choices in terms of phones and how I just kind of perceive this and what I would spend money on and stuff like that. But I will try to explain my logic in a moment, just so I can kind of get a glimpse into my madness here. Anyway, now in terms of the internals of this device, we have a 4900 mAh battery. Bear with me while I try to figure something out, because it seems like GSM Arena is showing wrong information right here. Considering they think that this device has 4 gigabytes of RAM, well, not 12, it does have 6. But they only have 64 gigs of storage with 4 gigs of RAM. That's not necessarily what I have right here. But this is the only phone that there is. Oh, okay, interesting. Let me try to search for it online. Okay, this seems to be more correct. Anything that is outside of what I just said, incorrect. Let's see. Battery is the same. It's the same. Yeah, so it seemed like they only had the storage and RAM incorrect. Okay. So in terms of the processor, we have a Unisec T606 processor in here. We have a 13 megapixel back camera right here, and what looks to be a fake. Yep, that's a fake, considering there's only 2 cameras. So this one is a 13, and this one will be an 8 megapixel camera. It's running Android 14, 4900 mAh battery, no NFC, no 5G, and a price tag of $100. Now, I don't think there's much more to say about this. It's a budget device that doesn't really offer all that much, even for a budget phone. It's a MEIZU phone, so that automatically kind of like, at least to me, maybe I'm just a spoiled little shit, but if I'm gonna be spending even like little less money as I possibly can, like $100, I'm not gonna be spending it on some like a very weird brand that I don't really perceive with phones in general. So if I were to buy $100 phone, I would probably be going for Xiaomi, because at least I know I'm getting a Xiaomi that works and the brand is kind of more known. But now, when it comes down to buying this phone, or generally a phone, I would highly recommend, if you have that option, to save up more, basically double that. And like I said, I might be a not the person that kind of resonates with these phones, but hear me out on this one. So I do know that I'm basically telling you, yeah, you spend double the amount and you're gonna get a better phone. Like no shit. But for $200, you can get something like the CMF Phone 1 or even 2. With that being said, $200 isn't necessarily that much for a device, considering they go up to like $1,800. So 200 is still what is considered low end. Like generally, this is low end. But what you get with CMF Phone 1 and even 2 is something that is considered more as a mid-range device to almost high-end. It might not have the high-end kind of like build design because it's made out of plastic and stuff like that, but what it packs in there internally, it is closer to what I would consider high-end. And considering it doesn't cost that much more, double the amount, but all things considered, when you look at the entire like prices of all the phones, from like $100 or even like $50 all the way to $1,800 or maybe even more, 200 from 100 is just a small jump. But what you get is a insanely better device than what you have right here. There's like no comparison. It's like going from some like older device to a new flagship. So this is basically what would be considered the older device, and you get like the CMF Phone 2. That's a flagship to you. The way the speed of it at which it's going to run at, how snappy it will be, the photos that it will take, the display, how it will look, how fast it will charge, what the battery will be, all that stuff, storage, RAM, everything will be at least double what you get right here. That is like hands down, double is like easy. And in general, everything there is a much higher quality component. So I highly recommend checking that out instead of going for some MEIZU that doesn't really offer anything specific for $100. And at this point, I would expect that when you're spending $100, you should have at least something that kind of differentiates it from other ones. I could argue that it does have 6 gigabytes of RAM, which for a budget phone is actually a lot. But in general, it's not necessarily like super high amount, I would say. Though, also, this is not fast phone, so probably 6 gigs of RAM gets kind of not utilized all that well in here. But yeah, like I said, I just check the other alternative, like the CMF Phone 2 or 2 Pro, I think it's called exactly. That will be just like a night and day difference. So I would personally, I would be saving up for a phone like that, which I know I can comfortably use and be just generally happy about having such a phone, rather than spending $100 and using this and suffering every single day I have to use it. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully you found this very helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.